Hi, my name is Jason Taylor, and this is my presentation for Criminal Justice Class 2410, Juvenile Justice, and it's the presentation for the History Research Paper and Presentation. Um, for my research paper and my presentation, I chose to focus my attention on the alternative sentencing law that you see a lot of juvenile courts use now. Kind of the reason that I selected this particular area to look at is because I had second, or I believe it was my second cousin. When he was young and a juvenile, he was in and out of trouble a lot with the law. He didn't have a good home life at all. Got into a lot of trouble, breaking and enterings, missing school, dropped out of school, threatening his parents, his siblings. Just a really, really messed up time in his life as a young teenager. And when he finally did get caught, um, basically he had two choices. He was either going to go to the youth home in Hillsdale County and serve out his time, or he could attend the Michigan Youth Challenge Academy in Battle Creek, Michigan. And basically, it's structured as a kind of like a military school in a way, um, and they work with troubled teens and troubled individuals that are juveniles that have been in trouble, that are maybe missing school, not going to graduate, things like that, to kind of get their lives back on track and give them a purpose and kind of a meaning to life and goals to work on. So that's kind of why I chose that, just because of my cousin's history. Um, Basically, the meaning behind the alternative sentencing law is just that there's alternative sentences versus maybe jail time, prison time, going to a youth home, things like that. With the alternative sentencing, it can be community service, or like this Michigan Youth Challenge Academy. There's options there that are more structured to rehabilitation rather than just strictly just the punishment. To the young person that's involved. I think that a lot of times we see that when a young person is just strictly punished and there's no rehabilitation, they just go on to live a life of crime. They begin to hate the systems, the courts. They hate the police. They just, their whole life is just a life of crime. And there's really nowhere where they've had somebody step in and say, "Hey, we're going to help you see a different way of life. We're going to help you." Um, Place goals in your life, and then work to obtain those goals and see the positive influence that kind of stuff can have on them. Um, the I think you see more of the rehabilitation, or like the alternative sentencing and the rehabilitation. I think we see that more nowadays than what we even did back, even when my cousin was a young man. Just because I think as time goes on, we realize how important it is, especially for a young person, how their brain's still developing, and how rehabilitation services can really influence a young person. Maybe not so much once they hit adulthood and that brain function is all fully developed and stuff, but a young person, the rehabilitation of that young person, and to get them out of a life of crime and stuff, it's really there. I mean, you really see young people benefit from that. And I think that's why it's so important nowadays, is that young people need a positive role models, positive influences in their lives. A lot of them come from dysfunctional families. A lot of these young people that get into trouble do come from maybe a father or mother that's been in trouble with the law, and they kind of grow up in that scenario and never really understand just exactly what the police are trying to do. That they're not there to hurt them, or or anything like that. They're there to help. And I think too many times some of these juveniles that comes from dysfunctional families or families that have been in trouble with the law, they grow up and are taught to hate police, hate the courts, hate judges, hate this and that, because that's how their parents feel. And I think that's another reason too. We need the juvenile court system. It is totally different than that for like adults and stuff. It focuses more on the rehabilitation of these young individuals before they become adults, before they just focus on a life of crime and never really get the help that they need. And I think that alternative sentencing is a great example of how young people can turn their lives around, just like my cousin. And you can read more of it in the research paper and stuff. But through that Michigan Youth Challenge Academy, he was able to turn his life completely around, got the help that he needed, the structure that he needed, was able to set goals and achieve goals, and in the end, he ended up enlisting with the Marine Corps and did tours in Afghanistan and Iraq, and was a great Marine, and really turned out to be a really good young man. So, like I said, there's more of that in the research paper, but yeah, I think alternative sentencing is a wonderful idea for young people. I think it's something that we need to see more of, and I really think that it really does change a young person's perspective on life. Kind of gives them hope, gives them goals to set and to strive for, and can help them see life and see things in a totally different perspective than what they're used to. So, hope you enjoyed my presentation. Thank you.